Netanyahu is certainly no ordinary prime minister. He is the longest-serving leader in Israel's history and the architect behind many of the most critical decisions in recent years. The Gaza War, operations in Lebanon, interventions in Syria, and, of course, the ongoing conflict with Iran. Netanyahu is no longer just a leader. He has become a symbol. And for the past few days, a massive claim has been circulating on social media. Was Netanyahu killed? Even though some of my followers have been asking me to cover this since the rumors started, I didn't take them seriously at first. After all, we had no evidence other than a few social media posts and images of a dead Netanyahu that were clearly AI-generated. However, as time passed, some intriguing details began to emerge. First of all, Iran has adopted a different strategy, targeting the homes and hiding places of Israeli leaders, ministers, commanders, pilots, and intelligence officers. In this context, several key figures and bureaucrats in Israel became targets and lost their lives. This created a sense of panic within Israel. But due to heavy censorship, details regarding exactly who was killed, when, and where could not reach the public. For instance, it is currently forbidden to broadcast live from Israel during Iranian missile attacks. Similarly, sharing information about military planning, preparations, or air defense is strictly restricted. Only civilian damage is allowed to be shown, provided the exact location isn't revealed. Therefore, getting detailed information about what is happening on the ground is extremely difficult. Now, let's return to Iran's new strategy and the details supporting the claim of Netanyahu's death. Iranian intelligence recently shared a video, which you see on the screen now, containing the identities and phone numbers of Israeli pilots involved in bombing their country. This move was clearly designed to put immense psychological pressure on the pilots and their families. More importantly, the message is that Iran can infiltrate Israel. Since the war began, Netanyahu hasn't appeared much in public anyway. Previously, during the 12-day war, he had flown to Athens on his private jet. He doesn't make scandalous statements every other day like Donald Trump, nor does he openly discuss his plans. But this week, his absence has been particularly long. Furthermore, Netanyahu did not attend yesterday's military council meeting. He also canceled a meeting with the U.S. ambassador at the last minute. Even his son, who lives in Miami and is usually very active on X, Twitter, hasn't posted since these claims surfaced. By the way, the fact that the Israeli state spent roughly $300,000 in 7 months just to protect him in America had caused protests in Israel. Following all this, Israeli sources felt compelled to make a statement, announcing that Netanyahu was alive and sharing a video. However, instead of ending the debate, this video fueled it further. There were many signs that the footage was AI-generated. People noticed Netanyahu's teeth disappearing and reappearing while he spoke, and at one point, he appeared to have 6 fingers. This quickly became a subject of ridicule on social media. While some argued these were just optical illusions caused by lighting, camera angles, or low quality, the official stance remains that he is alive and on duty. But if we rewind a bit and look at how official channels reacted when a similar situation happened in Iran, this proof doesn't mean everything. When Khamenei died, official Iranian sources initially claimed he was fine, and at his post. The truth only came out a day later. Iran also responded to the claims. The Revolutionary Guard stated, "If Netanyahu is alive, we will resolutely continue our attacks to track and kill him." Foreign Minister Araghchi called for revenge, saying, "Our principle is an eye for an eye, blood for blood. This is well known. If Iran has indeed managed to kill Netanyahu, it would be an incredible retaliation following the Haniyeh incident. It would be Iran's way of saying, 'We are here,' proving their intelligence capabilities and achieving their revenge. From their perspective, a devil would be removed from the world. But looking at it realistically, the evidence of his death isn't sufficient for me yet. Still, something is definitely going on. There is too much speculation to ignore. Even if Netanyahu isn't dead, he is clearly a target. The real question is, where is this war headed? Focusing on the macro picture makes more sense. But of course, people love conspiracy theories. Some are even suggesting that Trump, whom Netanyahu supposedly threatened over the Epstein files, might have found a way to have him removed and blamed it on Iran. These are interesting mental exercises, but let's stick to the facts. Now let's turn to the realities of the war. In recent strikes, the US targeted Kharg Island. I've made a video before about how valuable this island is, but let me summarize. It's a tiny island about 30 kilometers off the Iranian mainland. However, Kharg Island is the main terminal through which roughly 90% of Iran's oil exports are sent to the world. Most of the country's oil leaves on tankers from here. In other words, this is where Iran's money comes from. The island is essentially a giant oil faucet. Trump claimed they carried out one of the most powerful bombings in the Middle East on Kharg. Iran, meanwhile, stated the attack didn't damage oil facilities and only targeted military points. This is a strategic move. By not hitting the oil facilities directly, the US is sending a message. We can destroy your entire country's exports in one night, but we are choosing not to, for now. Perhaps they realize the world cannot handle a larger oil crisis at the moment. There is a critical aspect of this conflict that isn't being discussed enough: how water could become the new weapon. This region is one of the driest on Earth. Gulf countries hold only about 2% of the world's freshwater resources. Because of this, most drinking water comes from desalination plants. For example, 90% of Kuwait's water, 86% of Oman's, 70% of Saudi Arabia's, and 42% of the UAE's comes from these plants. In 2021 alone, Gulf desalination plants produced over 20 million cubic meters of water a day, enough to fill 8,000 Olympic swimming pools every single day. Consequently, water infrastructure is now as vital as oil refineries. As the war expands, the tension is reaching these facilities. While some attacks haven't targeted water plants directly, missiles landing nearby have created panic. Iran is already facing a massive water crisis. Recently, the US damaged a water facility on Kharg Island in the Strait of Hormuz. Another message. If we reach a point where water facilities are intentionally targeted, we are talking about a war that is completely out of control. Article 45 of the Geneva Convention considers targeting civilian infrastructure, like water, food, or energy, a war crime. Iranian Foreign Minister Araghchi described the attack on the Keshem facility as a dangerous step with serious consequences. But there is a fragile balance. Iran isn't the only one with water scarcity. If the US or Israel chooses to strike Iran's water plants, Iran could retaliate against water facilities in other Gulf countries, triggering a regional catastrophe. This is probably the worst-case scenario next to a nuclear one. Unfortunately, we seem to be on the brink. From the claims of Netanyahu's death to the targeting of water plants, this is the current state of the war. As new details emerge, I will continue to update you. Stay tuned and don't forget to like the video. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.